Wagwan, everyone. I hope you're doing well, and welcome back to another stream of Ponterique Talks, guys. I hope that you can hear me fine. Everything's working well. Apologies for the lateness. It is all my fault on my behalf, everyone. It's my fault. And do you know what? I'll be bringing in my guest right now. You've probably seen him in the title, and his link's in the description. We've been on UFT together, but this is the first time upon my channel. Rich, tell him. Wagwan, how you doing, man?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Tweet. Thanks for having me on today.
No worries, bro. Thank you for coming on, bro. It's my first guest with a channel, on my channel, actually. So you've got that honor.
I appreciate
within 2 minutes. Nah, no worries, man. I was on Eagle Eye Football's channel as well, as you can see in his name. I was on there. We was doing a preview with Nathan. I really enjoyed it. We was doing all Premier League preview as well, guys. So if you haven't, go check that one out on his channel. But now we're just going to keep this solely dedicated for the Arsenal game against Crystal Palace. You know, we've got the Patrick Vieira connection. So, guys, we're just going to get into it. We'll probably be around half an hour to 45 minutes. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm not trying to keep
not too well a bit like
nah, not that, because it's your weekend as well, because you're working full time and that, so big up to yourself. But yes, you know what? Let's get into it. Before I get into it, guys, you've probably seen a video on my previous channel for it was the stream on FIFA. If you want to see more of that, I'll be back on there tonight. I'll be setting it all up after this stream. I'll let you guys know on my socials. So, yeah, go follow me on Twitch and Tariq Talks. And I'll also be doing one more video of that tonight on my YouTube. So, I'll give you time, giving you grace. But you know what? Let's get in some comments as well whilst we're here, right? Because we've got so many
already, bro.
Tell me about it, guys. I'm looking down because my laptop's here. I was telling Rich this before. Say vlog 10. That's my little nephew. I'll say vlog 10. Tariq, you look like Pale Vieira. In this case, did you see him yesterday up on the Twitch? Just sending shots for me.
Yeah, I did.
When I was doing the stream.
It was funny though. The stream was banner.
Tell me about it. Oh, sackable offence. He's on about my FPL. Do you play FPL as well, Rich?
This is the first year I haven't done it in a while. Because I just knew that I've just been tied up with this, school, marking, planning, family. But I need to come back on it. I need to come back on it. I feel like I'm missing out.
It takes a lot of time though, doesn't it? So we've got Realist United. Can Arsenal take Ollie, please? I'm all right. I was watching your stream up on Twitch earlier, Realist. Jokes. And then obviously Rich sent me the link to KG's, and oh man, I'm just enjoying this United at the moment with Ollie. And look at Alan as well. Oh guys, I'll get into the comments properly later. We've got Nathan here, got Tishi M, Know-How, Luke Cooper. Yo, you brought the eagle-eyed fam over here as well. I can see.
The family support me.
Tell me about it. I've seen loads of names from the group chat as well. So we've got Cloudy in here as well. Thank you everyone for joining. And LT Nation, Grace.
Palace fan is good.
Oh, there's another one. Yeah, I remember that one. So yes, guys, we'll get into it now. Let me start off. You start off with my guest team, as you can see, Crystal Palace fan. So, Rich, what are your thoughts on Crystal Palace this season? You start to the season, and as we can see the record right here, it's been mixed, but you know, in terms of the results. But you go a bit more on deeper in how it started and where we are now.
Yeah, like I said to you, obviously, when you're on my stream, when you look at that and think 7 points, you think, but when you actually deep who we've actually played, then put the points in there, and to think that we'll drop points against both Brighton and Leicester as well, I think we should be on 11 points, I'd say. I'm happy. I'm really happy. Just to bring a bit of context for those who don't know, we lost to Chelsea away, which is standard. Drew at home to Brentford, who are doing pretty decent. Drew away to West Ham. Beat Tottenham at home. Lost to Liverpool away. And we could actually maybe have got something from that too, if we had taken our chances. Like and conceded some really sloppy goals, to be fair. And the last two games, Brighton at home and Leicester at home, both draws, both we should have won, completely dominated. You know, so 7 points, I'm really happy. And I think also we got to think about the fact that we've gone from being a partner bus side under Roy Hodgson to now trying to play out from the back with Patrick Vieira. So the transition is going to take time. And a lot of people have heard me say, we just need to stay up. I know it might sound defeatist because we're playing actually good football, but realistically, it's going to take time for everything to bed in, you know, and absolutely buzzing. Happy with the start, to be fair. But I do feel 3 points is crucial, at least a point. I think a defeat might, I wouldn't say not the confidence, but then the teams around are starting to pick up a few little points as well. And you don't really want to get sucked into that relegation dogfight. So
yeah, I understand. And do you know what? I think you broke it down really well and looked at it from a positive aspect, but also a realistic point of view. As we can see with the results, they don't quite reflect the performances in a lot of those games. Only really the Chelsea game is what you got, you deserved outcome. But there was a lot of players out missing in that one in particular. That wasn't the partnership of Anderson and Gay. Who played at the back in that game? I know, was it Anderson that missed out? Gay started.
Gay and Tompkins, I think it was.
Yes, yeah. So, and it's at the start of the season, so players coming back with different fitness levels. And what you've really got to take into consideration with results for Palace is how young your team actually is, with the huge turnover that you've had.
A massive turnover.
Exactly. With the players, 11 players that got
14 in total. 14 in total.
Wow, even more than I expected.
And they're experienced heads: Cahill's, Dan's, Townsend.
Yeah,
Connor Wickham, Connor Wickham, even though he didn't play for us much, but you would put him in that experience sort of bracket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then bring in the younger ones, like you said, that Gaze, Anderson's pretty young, Elise, Edouard, all pretty young, all young players.
Exactly. And those young players coming into a completely different atmosphere in a dressing room where you've just lost that amount of leaders, it's going to be hard to really build that team cohesion. And you've lost a lot of, just like one of our subscribers, know-how. You've lost a lot of know-how in guiding yourself through those games. A completely different transition of play, even with the players that are still there. Do you know what I mean? Like Joel Ward would never have played this style of football before. Milivojevic, MacArthur, they're really embedded into Roy Hodgson's style of play, which is completely different to what Vieira's trying to bring. And what we've also got to take into consideration previously, what obviously happened when you tried to transition before to a completely different style, De Boer, and how that ended up. Do you know what I'm saying, bro? So in looking back at those games, as you were saying, Chelsea, the loss there, the draw to Brentford. I mean, wow. Did you see any of that game tonight with Chelsea? No,
daddy duties. And to be fair,
yes.
I came back from a match myself. My Saturday team won today. But
cool. What was the score? No, what was the score? No, come on.
6-1.
Decent. There you go. But yeah, I was watching the Brentford game in the background whilst my nephew was here. And boy, when he left, it was towards the end of the game, Brentford took over and Edouard Mendy actually got man of the match. So that kind of says a lot. They had plenty of chances, Rich. When you catch it on Match of the Day or wherever you watch the highlights, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And Brentford, that's a good draw in the end. West Ham, and we've seen how West Ham have performed. Spurs battering them, and you actually kept a clean sheet, unlike when we did. And then the loss against Liverpool, 3-0, definitely flattered them. We spoke about this one. Them. I think this was when we I just met you the following week after that, and we spoke about how all the goals came from set pieces,
all of them.
So that's and then obviously the two draws picked up after that was against Leicester and who was it?
Brighton.
Oh, and there you go. Even the Brighton one, you deserve to beat Leicester, and you could like no more pie. You know, none of us like that, man. Come on. You know what I'm saying? We could describe him in much more expletives, but you know, you have to keep your teacher head on, and I have to keep. But yeah,
I love it if they get relegated.
I would love it. Exactly, Ty. But yeah, so with Crystal Palace, for me as an Arsenal fan, talking about them now, I'm going to put on my complete Arsenal hat. Coming into this game, looking at you, I'm seeing the threats that you do possess. You've still got the Ibira Eze to come back, who was arguably your best player of the season. Exactly. Just look at him. The like chef's kiss. That's Ibira Eze for you. Edouard to still come in and settle into the team. Who's another young player that you signed. Elise, who guys on this channel, you know how much I preached about Elise. and this was before I met Rich, and now this is why we're striking up a good relationship, because I'm praising his team. Do you know what? He's a real football man, and you'll learn a lot more when we talk about Arsenal. Well, and then you Conor Gallagher. How can I mention him so last and like be so late in mentioning him? He surprised me because I watched a bit of him at West Brom. What's your thoughts about him? Then I'll go into mine.
You know, I was actually going to touch on that fact. Like when he was at West Brom, he was okay. He was okay, but since he's come to us, there's been another dynamic. So I'm just grabbing my charger.
That's all right, no worries.
Complete another dynamic. And he initiates a lot of what we do. He starts to press. He finds pockets in between the lines. He drives at defenders. He's got it all, you know. He's got it all. And I think what also helps, and this is where I've got to give props to PV. When you look at the under 20, so the England under 17 side beforehand, there was the likes of Eze, Gahey. I don't think Elise he had got there yet, but they all know each other.
It's true.
They're all brethren. So that really helps, and I'm hoping that I know Conor can be playing at the highest level or as high as he wants to, you know. But that's why I'm hoping Roman Abramovich decides to just splash the cash on the midfielder, you know, and then somehow we sign him on a permanent, which I don't expect to happen because he's a very good player. He could play European football. I think he's that good. But fingers crossed we can make something happen.
Exactly. And do you know what? I think I just thought something when you was talking about Conor Gallagher there, and I might be a bit reactionary saying this, but I'm not saying he's better than him, but I think he's got more to his game than Mason Mount and what we're seeing for Mason Mount in the Chelsea shirt. And I think that's big praise when I look at Conor Gallagher, because the energy that he possesses, I can see Conor Gallagher playing in a deeper mid, which he has as well, playing in a deeper midfield position. I think they do have their similarities in how they lead the team with energy and in the press and linking up play with the strikers. You can see that Conor Gallagher's technical ability, where he has grown up in the Chelsea academy and has really come to light. Whereas previously at West Brom, he just looked like another cog in the machine. I know he scored against Sheffield United, but it kind of shows you.
I think he scored against United as well.
Yes, yeah, he did. Did he? No, that was it. No, I think that was that Diagne, the big dude.
Ah, yes.
I think he put the ball in for him though.
Maybe it was that then, yeah, because he had a good game against him, to be fair.
Exactly. And what we're seeing with Conor Gallagher is him coming into that half space, that Kevin De Bruyne position where he done that's why Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best attacking midfielders in the league. When you see a player in between the fullback and centre back, that's the most dangerous position for any midfielder to advance into. And he's understood that. And a massive credit to Patrick Vieira in placing him in those areas, getting him in those dangerous areas where he can protect the ball. This is where we'll get into Arsenal, but why Saka is so good at what he does and why Grealish picks up a lot of free kicks and gets applauded is how they retain the ball, getting their body in the way. If a player comes in, you've seen him pick up a lot of free kicks as well, haven't you, for Palace?
Yeah,
Conor Gallagher. And he takes set pieces.
Yeah, I think he's won 2 penalties as well. I could be wrong, but I believe he's won 2 penalties.
Yeah, exactly. So big shout for Conor Gallagher there. I've not even mentioned Wilf, of course, Zaha.
And you know what? Someone mentioned it in the comment. How good does it feel to not just rely on one man?
Yeah,
we have been so reliant on Wilf, and now we have an abundance of attacking creativity and talent. You know, it's brilliant. Like we can actually bring about a bit of balance to our attacking play. Exactly. You know, so. No, absolutely happy about it. Really happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I mention one player that's under the radar, actually?
No, go on. Yeah, definitely.
James McArthur.
Okay, yes. Good shout.
So under the radar. The energy he brings into that midfield, and his passing's actually better than. And it surprised me. Don't get me wrong. I've always liked his work rate and stuff, but his actual passing ability he's a clever player, and he also picks up little spaces where he can also turn and get the ball moving forward quickly and stuff. And he's allowed Connor to be able to have the license to just bomb forward, So I got to give Maka a shout out. To be fair.
Yeah, definitely. Big shout out for Maka. See, I even got the nickname as early in your stream when someone was mentioning about him. Another thing, this is the question. We've sang your praises there. What has been the area of improvement throughout the squad? You can talk about individual players. Because for me, I'll just touch on it quickly and then I'll give mine. I think with you, it's been individual errors, which tends to happen with a young squad that don't quite have the cohesion, that don't quite have the chemistry and the understanding with a manager who's also not going to be aware of managing the games at times in the Premier League. So what's your thoughts on that? What's been the area that you'd like to improve? Can you see Palace improving too?
Yeah, I totally agree on the whole individual errors aspect, because if I look back at all the games that we've played, I think we've made mistakes in all of them since the Chelsea game. I think Chelsea's the only game where we've actually been opened up.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the West Ham goals, maybe, and that's out of stretch. But since then, there's been errors. It's either set pieces or losing a man or whatever it may be. You shouldn't be conceding 3 set pieces in one game. That's mad.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Obviously, the mistake made against Brighton, which was just anyway. I was there at the game. I was gutted.
Oh yes, you was.
Vex. And then
where was you sat though? Where was you sat? Was Morpie celebrating near you, or was you?
No, he was complete other end, other end of the ground. And then you look at the Leicester game, 2 mistakes there as well. And I think if we cut that out, I think we'll be fine. Because Gay and Anderson, fair play to them, they've been brilliant.
Yeah,
they've been brilliant. I mean, the amount of goals we've conceded doesn't reflect how they've actually played. And I think it's just like nipping those little things out in the bud. And once we can do that, I think we'll be fine. But that it sounds mad because obviously we've conceded a few goals, like I said, individual errors. But our centre back is the actual area that we've improved on the most. Because we're now playing a new style of football. We're actually, as a team, better on the football, and those two are so key to it. Anderson and Gay. So credit to them.
Nah, I totally understand you on that one, because last season, if you're an outside fan and you just don't really watch Arsenal, you're just here to like banter us. Last season, even when we was in that torrid run, I could easily say our centre-backs and defence was much stronger than we previously seen. But even when we was conceding goals, what was Arsenal's big issue? Individual errors, like what you're seeing. We weren't conceding that many chances. However, the individual errors, the lack of creativity up top, which is what you're not suffering with, it's just finishing those chances. That's what it is. But that's always what it is with mid-table and teams trying to break up into that top half. It's always taking those chances, like, Brighton. I won't mention them too much whilst we're here, because obviously we're a Palace fan. Got to keep it respectful. But yeah, totally agree with you on that, where your defence has looked more solid. And bearing in mind that you're not playing a low block or that really counter-attacking football. So it's big credit for Patrick Vieira for what he's done there. And I think because we'll get onto Arsenal now, I think this is a perfect time to transition, because with Arsenal, we're struggling with creativity, the lack of creating big chances. I haven't seen that. Whereas with you, even against Leicester, which I think was the perfect game to see your positives and flaws in terms of the individual errors, but you created an abundance of chances. And I was like, yo, imagine this is Crystal Palace doing this. And I'm someone who people say, oh, you're an Arteta lover, you're apologetic and stuff. Arteta apologist. Then I do, but like, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, this is what Patrick Vieira is doing with these players. Why am I not seeing this from Arteta? Why am I not seeing these chances created? So what are your thoughts on Arsenal this season? Obviously, with the first 3 games we lost, and the next 3 after the international break, about 4, we're undefeated now. So do you think that Arsenal are finding their level, or do you think that the three losses were a fluke and there was other factors, or the 3 wins were, etc.? So I want to hear you dive in on Arsenal. What are your thoughts coming into this game and stuff?
The Brentford game was always going to be tough. You know, promoted sides, home, like atmosphere, crazy. They're going to give their all. Although you lost, you actually had chances in that Brentford game. But fair play to Brentford, they were very good as well. You know, Tony and Embolo were causing your backline a problem. To concede from a throw-in is shocking, though. You know,
Leno.
It's mad. But then obviously the games after that, was it Man City and
Chelsea, Man City.
Chelsea.
Yeah,
you kind of expect a defeat. So I think the game that was really key was the Norwich game. I think it was after that. And you got by them 1-0. I'll be lying if I told you I watched that game or saw how you played.
I mean, I didn't even watch it because it was at 3:00 and I was struggling with the stream then.
But it was 1-0 at that game. Then after that was Burnley. I think it was another 1-0. And it's just really about picking points. That the win against Spurs, it's hard to decipher because at that time, Spurs were bad. I mean, even with the 3 wins they got, they weren't really playing well. But I always want to give credit to the winning team as much as possible.
Unlike Graham Souness.
He's a pagan. You put Tottenham to the sword very, very early in that game as well. I think second half you allowed them to get back into it a bit.
Yeah, you did.
But at 3-0 up, like sometimes, you know, you foot off the gas and so on and so forth. Who did you draw against last game? Oh, the Brighton game. And this is where I'm filled with a little bit more confidence. Because of how we're playing and then how you dealt with Brighton, you couldn't handle the press. Patrick Vieira has got us pressing now. So if we can win that ball high up, and no disrespect to your backline, I think we can cause them a few problems. You know, but all in all, I think this is Arteta's last season. Reason being, he has to make. No, I don't know. Your owners don't seem like they care.
It's true.
He has to make at least Europe. I think maybe that will save his job. But I think he's coming to the end. To be honest, he's coming to it. The young players you've got are really saving his bacon.
Yeah, it's true, and that's what has happened with Arsenal even last season when the Emile Smith-Rowe came in. But yeah, in terms of that, for Arsenal, and I think which you spoke about where we got caused a lot of problems against Brighton, was the midfield. Our midfield couldn't handle the press, with Lokonga really picking the ball up out to the left. And this is where I've had this debate with Arsenal fans. I was doing it in the FIFA game, in the FIFA stream as well, when I said that it's quite controversial for what most people think. Because I know you rate Sambi Lokonga from what we spoke about previously. I would still pick, if Xhaka was fit, I'd still pick Xhaka over Lokonga for a majority of games. And the reason is because of up there. We don't, as fans, we always like to see what's right in front of us in terms of technical ability, physical attributes, and those 2 things, and how much they run. You know, that's quite of a British mentality, like British fan. However, with Granit Xhaka, we know his limitations, and we know that he's a liability in these certain situations when he loses his head, which we've seen in the fixture against Palace. Yeah, where a lot of his hate comes from.
Yeah.
But with this one, with what Granit Xhaka does bring on his day, and whether we like, I'm not his biggest fan. Everybody knows that. Always mention Xhaka in a stream, so I think it's a perfect time. I'm not his biggest fan, and I really wanted us to improve on him. What we've got to be honest, though, last season with Thomas Partey's injuries, he was easily our best midfielder. And he's right now, and this is where Arsenal's problem is, he's our second best midfielder. And I don't think that you can have that in a team fighting for Europe, or potentially even trying to get into the Champions League, with Granit Xhaka as your second best midfielder. And now he's not playing, of course, and with Lokonga and Partey, yes, they bring that physical attribute and technical ability. However, the lack of experience in Lokonga, it may come to light with the likes of Maka, Milivojevic, and Conor Gallagher really pressing, which you guys do, and you pressing as a unit, and that will eventually lead our backline being exposed, like where Tomiyasu had a torrid time against Brighton because of that, because he's constantly going in 1v1s. I think that's the problem we see at Manchester United as well, where Varane's getting exposed, Lindelof, Maguire, whoever plays in that back line. You could put Van Dijk, Matip, Sergio Ramos for Manchester United, because their midfield is so open. With at any level, if you see this at the lower league level, in Sunday League, all the way through to the top, if your centre backs are getting exposed, no matter how good they are, they can't always clean up every mess. And that's where your midfield really has to shield it. So I do see where you're coming with that confidence, and you will create chances, because I believe you created chances against better sides in the league. You caused Liverpool a lot of problems, who are one of the most defensive, solid teams in the league. So I've got to be honest there. And I do think you will cause problems, and I do think you'll score. However, with Arsenal, and in terms of, I know I've spoken a lot already, but with Arsenal and the record, what we've seen, I'm glad that you said this, because I didn't want it to be my own blinkered fans, or I'm wearing red rose-tinted glasses. Those 3 losses were taken out of context and blown out of proportion by Arsenal, as we do. And those 3 wins, what we saw in those wins, okay, I think the Spurs game is actually the anomaly. And because that is the only game where we've scored more than 1 goal. If you think about it, we didn't score against we didn't score against Brentford, Chelsea, City. Only scored 1 against Norwich, Burnley, and none against Brighton. So we already scored 3. North London derby, how Spurs were coming into that game. I don't really expect to score in plenty of goals and not troubling. And I think what will happen in this game, you will come out wherever you're watching it and say, "But I think we should have won." But then I think, in terms, we'll get into predictions, but I think that with the likes of Ødegaard, Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, and I think that eventually you will get exposed, and with that press that you do play, I think you'll dominate probably most of the game. You may actually end up with more possession, depending on if you score an early goal. That might change things, because that your players might automatically think, okay, we're away now. Like, the mentality shift. What we see with better teams, let alone like with Crystal Palace. No disrespect, of course, but and so depending on how the game's going on, I do think that you will create more chances than us. So I'm being realistic, and Arsenal fans watching, I know we've got a lot of Arsenal fans in here. You won't be happy to hear that, but we've got to be realistic with where we're at. And if we do take a win, and if we do surprise ourselves and we batter Palace, then I'll come here and I'll hold my hands up and say I'm wrong about how I think this team can set up and how Arteta can tactically. So in terms of the managers, how do you see the team being set up, and what do you fear in Do you fear anything in Arteta, or do you think that, okay, he may have this over Vieira, or vice versa, or do you think that Vieira just, from what you've seen so far, because we can't go into absolutes quite yet, because obviously we've got a small sample size?
I wouldn't say I've got anything that fears us, and that's weird coming from me as a Palace fan. Like I said, this year just feels so different. Like I said, minus the Spurs game, you haven't really played well.
No.
I mean, it could all come ahead on Monday night, and it could all work out for you. We'll have to wait and see. But we're not coming to you looking to play on the counter anymore. I think those days are gone. However, like I said to you before, I don't expect us to be tactically naive and play a high line. Yes, Mark Gay is quick, but you don't want to be taking the chance trying to have running in behind, and so we have to play this clever. I think the key to this game will be how you set up your midfield.
Yeah.
And I believe he went, was it Partey, Odegaard, and Smith Rowe for one game?
Yeah, Burnley away, right
And
in the hole.
If Partey's left alone, I think that could be a problem. And I like Partey. He's a good player.
Yeah.
That's my Ghanaian bias. But
I was about to say it there. 2 goals for Ghana in the international break.
He's a good player. He's a very good player. You saw that if he can do what he was doing for a club like Atletico Madrid, who literally have chains on every player, you know, I think if he just stayed fit, he'll be fine. But he's got a mad injury record. But you don't want him. You don't want him there alone, and that's why I feel like he'll play the 2. I think he'll play him and Lokonga, which then takes one of Smith Rowe or Odegaard out the picture potentially, or moves them.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, if Aubameyang plays as the number 9, I think I'll feel a lot more comfortable.
I understand that, and definitely because in terms of how we play, we're not as creative or as dangerous on progressing the ball with Aubameyang. So I hear that.
Yeah, this is it. Where he's playing, when he plays on the left, he's a bigger threat in my opinion.
Yeah, interesting. Because I actually disagree. In an Arteta system, do you know what? I would agree with you under Emery because of how we played then, where we played the counter-attacking side. When we drew 2-2 with you, we took 2-0? We went 2-0 up with under Emery, but then you scored 2 goals quickly, where we scored I think 2 of our goals off of set pieces. So we can't really look into that game too much. But yeah, under Emery on the left, he was a bit different. He had that freedom a lot more. Whereas under Arteta, that left winger needs to get a bit more chalk on his boots and support Tierney as well. When Tierney's overlapping, that's when they tend to come inside. But it's a bit too late for Aubameyang to be coming into the box at that moment. So under Emery, completely different because he was always in that half space and that up front position. So that I do see what you're saying, and because of how his hold-up play is abysmal, we've got to be honest. And if the ball gets played to him, Mark Gay and Anderson will eat it up.
They'll be snapping at his heels.
Exactly. And the only thing, and he's very limited in what he does, bearing in mind he's very good when he's on form. If you play the ball into him, feed him chances, his movement's fantastic, and that will cause problems. But I don't see Arsenal getting that high up the pitch that often. Do you know what I'm saying? To create those amount of chances. Aubameyang for Manchester City would be amazing because they would pin teams back and he would just need to be in the box and hang around there. Arsenal, that's not possible because we're not that good. We're nowhere near a good enough a team to do that. So I do see what you're saying there. And another thing, Emile Smith-Rowe is much better on the left wing. Every time I've watched him, he's definitely a winger. He was a winger actually in his youth days. He came into that number 10 towards the end of his Arsenal academy time.
Right.
Emile Smith-Rowe, he's deceptively very quick. For example, you saw the goal for Aubameyang's goal against Spurs. We've seen Davinson Sanchez run. He's not the greatest centre back. I can tell you, he's very quick, and Davinson Sanchez couldn't keep up with Smith-Rowe. So for me, that says a lot. That says a lot about how quick he is, and that's why I think he's good on that left-hand side. He has a good relationship with Tierney. I think he's our best player out on that left, and then Saka out on the right, and then Pepe is always an option. I think Pepe is our 3rd biggest goal threat. So yeah, and I don't think he'll start. So he kind of says a lot, really, in terms of what we'll see. Odegaard will play in that number 10, I believe. So yeah, what we're going to do now is, before we give our predictions for the game, and you say exactly you give me who you think's going to score, who will score first, and go into that. But before we do that, I've got a little segment for us, and this is where it's for a bit of fun, and it might get quite controversial. You know what I mean? Because Richard said to me, he's got some hot topics and hot points. So hot takes, shall I say? We're going to do a combined 11 of both sides. We're going to base it, but we'll make it balanced, then we'll do quality but mainly form, just to make it a bit more interesting. Because, for example, the likes of Mark Gay, you're not, if you wanted to put him in, you can't like make a case that, oh yeah, he's done this for X amount of years. So I don't think that makes it more fun and interesting. So your entire opinion, what you think that player can be, is he better than X, Y, and Z? So what formation first? I'm gonna give you, because you're the guest, I'll give you the reins for the formation.
I think we can both work with a 4-3-3.
Perfect. Yeah. I think that will work. And because also as well, I'll let you go first for the first pick in goal. Guaita.
Ramsdale.
You going Ramsdale over Guaita?
Yeah. VG's getting on my nerves. You know what? If this was this time last season, VG all day. Because Leno's poor.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that.
Shocking. And you know what? I'll be honest. I laughed when I heard like Ramsdale 30+ million. I laughed.
You're not the only one.
Your club is a mess. However, I've got to give credit where credit's due. He's been really good. He's been really good for you. His ability on the ball, I didn't see that coming. He's commanding. He does love the cameras, though. He gives the whole passion.
Thank you. Because and Arsenal fans, we fall for it. I'm not just blaming everyone else. I have as well. I've gone, he gives the fist pumps, which is what Leno. Yeah. Go on, give Fan the shirt and stuff. His PR game, he's quality. So yeah, carry on, man, because that is so true.
VG, he was brilliant last season. I don't know if it's because we've changed our style of play, but he's not catching the ball now when crosses come in. He's punching everything. I don't get it. And then even when we knock the ball back to him, like, because we're now playing with our feet a lot more, he's not as assured. And I think one of two things is going to happen. I think Jack Butland might see himself in goal soon,
Okay.
Or PV's going to go in and get a goalkeeper who actually plays out from the back.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's a brilliant shout. And that's why I don't think Leno's any good, because of what we want to do. And it's goalkeeping position has changed a lot over the years. And you can't be a goalkeeper now and not be decent with the ball at your feet. Yeah. One goalkeeper I always bring up for this is David De Gea. And we know how fantastic he is and what he was doing in his prime. And to be honest, in terms of saves, he's been brilliant. But even today, I was watching the Leicester City game, and I'm not going to you'll watch our match of the day, but with his feet, he's at fault for Leicester's equaliser. Not entirely, because I think Maguire should do better, but it just shows how the game has moved now and how we're in a different era. And with Guaita, fantastic in his time there, and as a shot stopper,
he's been brilliant.
One of the best in the league, and very underrated because he plays for Crystal Palace in terms of that. However, now he's starting to get exposed, as you said. It's that confidence on the ball to bring it down, play with the feet, and try and move your team in an attacking transition, where it's not easy to do that, and goalkeepers are required to do that just as much as they are to make saves nowadays.
Just on that De Gea point, I don't think it's De Gea's fault. I actually saw that goal.
Oh, yeah.
Maguire fell asleep. I don't know what and you know what it is? He loves to go on his right foot.
Yeah. Of course, he's on the left side, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's been caught out. Maguire's completely at fault. Well, actually, you know what? The bigger blame should go to the gaffer. How is Maguire playing anyway? I thought he was injured.
There you go. But we can always bring you back to Ali with Man United. But yeah, in terms of that, I do think you're right. Majority blame is to Maguire, but also like the whole situation where the free kick was taken quickly. Like Maguire's about to take it anyway, but then it ends up going back to Maguire with tons of pressure on him. And I didn't think the pass was the best. And I think you have to understand your players and understand the situation, because I think to just blatantly looking at it, because I've played the game at a decent level, the types of passes and how much pace you put on a pass means how the player wants to receive the ball. And I think that David De Gea, with the way he's played that ball, has made Maguire think he's got more time than he actually does, because it's not fizzed into him like, all right, now you need to deal with this. Do you know what I mean?
Maguire's facing the play. He sees the play coming.
Yeah. Yes, he does. But then that pass also invites pressure from Iheanacho. That's why Iheanacho thinks I can press him now. I can cause him problems because the pass is played short. Do you know what I'm saying?
I see that angle.
Yeah. So that's where I'm not entirely blaming him, and I don't think you can really, because with Manchester United, because he's the only reason why you've even picked up points in certain games. Let's be entirely honest. So that's just me nitpicking, and that's what Ramsdale has brought in, and yeah, I think that's what he's really surprised me, and what Arteta spoke about in the interview when he signed him. He said, he hasn't played with the ball at his feet in the previous clubs he's been at, not Portsmouth, Bournemouth and Sheffield United, but I see potential where he can do that there. So that's where I give credit to Arteta, and where I get him a little bit of hope, because he's not stupid as some fans will make you believe. Like, there's Ollie out can't score a goal past him. Ollie's team haven't scored a goal. He's picked up wins in his short tenure against all the big six sides. So there are things there, but it's about consistency, and he's made a lot of mistakes in that too. So yeah, Ramsdale, we spent a long time on that actually, on the goalkeeper. So yeah, we'll go with Ramsdale. Okay, now the back four. Let's start off with right back. You're gonna go. You go. I'll let you go first with all of them.
Right, I know your Tomiyasu's come in and he's done okay.
Mm-hmm.
But with the caliber of defenders that Joe Ward has had to face, attackers Joe Ward's had to face this season, I'll put him in Joe Ward.
Okay.
And he surprised me, because I was all for Kleiny starting, but Joe Ward has been superb. You know, Tomiyasu's played well, but then when you look at it, like I said, it's a Norwich and the Burnleys. And obviously Spurs, where Spurs were rubbish. And then the one game he didn't struggle against was Brighton. Joe Ward has been consistent all season pretty much. If we were talking about who's the better player, okay, cool, yeah, you would say Tomiyasu, but we're talking about form this season. And I'll just save us some time, and I'll just put the Paddy's back line there.
Whoa, okay. Okay. Interesting. For me, I do like Joel Ward. I'm a big fan for big reasons, for other reasons as well, because to do with his personal life. So I like Joel Ward. I only found that out recently. But also,
we can sit in there, can't we? He's a believer. He's a believer. Amen.
Exactly.
I'm all for that as well.
Same here, massive. Big up Joel Ward, man. If you ever saw this, he could do, because we've got a Palace fan here, and you know what I'm saying. So big up Joel Ward, the believer in the Lord. So yes, I do like that. But with time, I think you're right in terms of form. He has come up against better attackers. However, when we're looking at Arsenal's undefeated run now in 4 games, Tomiyasu is a major part of that. Yes, he struggled against Brighton. However, Norwich, one of the best players, arguably man of the match. No threat, but that's Norwich. Burnley, I was very surprised, because Ben White is, as we know with Ben White, I'm going to save time there. I'm not going to put Ben White in there. So how he struggles physically, Tomiyasu saved his bacon in all truth. And what we saw from that, I've got to give massive credit for Tomiyasu there. And then Spurs, he's come up against Heung-min Son, and we've seen the form that Son's been on this season. Even though Spurs have been awful, he scored in that game. It wasn't Tomiyasu's fault, but to come up against that quality of player and in that moment perform, and yeah, I've got to get. You know what? I'm going to say Tomiyasu. That's what I'm going to back, but. It's a toss of a coin. Joe Ward's done it in the Premier League for a lot longer. So we'll go back. We'll leave that one to the comments. Guys, who are you going for? We've got a mixture of Palace fans, United fans, all different types of fans. Who are you going for in this? Tomiyasu or Joe Ward? And centre-backs, so you've gone with Anderson and Gay, I presume. I'm going to go and give me a reason for that, and then I'll give you mine.
As a partnership, like I said, they've been superb. Minus their individual errors. I mean, I guess there's a case for Gabriel.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's why I'm putting him in. I'm putting Gabriel.
But then I don't know who I'll take out there. I generally don't. Anderson starts off most of our attacks. He's got a long diag.
Yeah.
And it's not like just hitting into space. He will pick out Wolf's feet.
True.
So that's something, obviously, Tomiyasu's going to have to be mindful of. He's got that in his locker all day. Gay's composure and his pace, his recovery pace, his positioning. and he actually wins quite a few headers for someone who's not the tallest. You know, and like I said, all right, Anderson may end up losing out here just because of the mistakes he made against Leicester.
You said it already. That was my next point, but you know what?
That will be the only reason I might say, okay, Gay and Gabriel. That's the only reason. However, I'm confident in Anderson and Gay, in my personal opinion.
I respect that, and to be honest, you should always go for that, and that says a lot, and that speaks volumes about how your centre-back partnership has performed in long periods of the game, even though we're seeing those errors, but for the majority of it, they've looked sound, they've swept up any danger. So big up Anderson and Gay for that one. I would just go for Gabriel, because also another player that came back from injury and transformed our form. I know it's against different teams and level up opposition, but I think Gabriel and Gay are centre backs for the future, and they would work so well with their physical attributes. And I think Gabriel's is underrated on the ball. And because there was people saying, oh yeah, he's brought in Ben White so that he can complement Gabriel, who's not as good on the ball. However, we've seen a lot this season. I've been seeing him playing diags. I don't think he's as good as Anderson at that part of his game. However, athletically, his concentration's very good for a young centre-back, for someone who's 23, 24. And yeah, and I've got to go with Gabriel, and also with last season, how he was tremendous and one of our best players. So just adding a little bit into there. So I've been impressed with Gabriel. Left back. Now, you said whole back four. This is quite controversial. So you've gone with Tyrick Mitchell over Kieran Tierney, yeah?
I have. He's probably been one of our better defenders this season, you know.
Yeah.
Going forward and defensively. He's been brilliant. He's been superb, you know, and he's been faultless. He's absolutely been faultless, you know. And once again, I like Tierney. I do like him. Like he's one of your better players when you think about it. So you know, this is a tough one actually.
The Palace fan in you, I understand. Say what you believe, because you're a Palace. Like, you watch Tyrick Mitchell more than I do, and I watch Tierney more. This is what it's about, man. It's fun. So I'll put you on the spot now. Come on.
You really have. No, I'm going to stick with Mitchell.
Fair enough. And do you know what? I'll give Mitchell his flowers. I've been pleasantly surprised how good he's going forward. And from what I've seen from this season, the support he's provided Zaha, because under Roy Hodgson, when he came in, I was very impressed with him then. And I was surprised how Roy Hodgson allowed Patrick Van Aanholt to come straight back into the side when he came back from that injury, because of Mitchell's defensive qualities. That's what really stood out to me. How 1v1 especially, he's got the athletic ability, the pace, the recovery pace to get back, and he's got a real concentration and understanding of his body position to defend. But what I've been surprised at, and pleasantly, is how he has performed going back, going forward and creating that. So yeah, you can do that, bro. That's cool.
Yeah, I'll be back 2 seconds.
So yeah, I'll just talk more, and I'll talk to everyone about Tierney. Yeah. So with Kieran Tierney, the reason why I'd go him for over Tyrick Mitchell is because of what he provides Arsenal going forward. How we rely upon him. Kieran Tierney hasn't been in the best of form this season. I don't think his end product has been to the level that we know he can get to, but he still has looked Arsenal's most dangerous player on that left-hand side, and does provide that attacking outlet. And going backwards as well, as for fans that don't watch Arsenal every week, and you probably catch some of the highlights, you don't realise how crucial he is going backwards. When we won that FA Cup in the 3 at the back formation, he was that left-sided, and he was the one dealing a lot with the balls in the channels, 1v1, aerially, heading balls away. Got to give a lot of credit to Kieran Tierney. He's 5'9", 5'10", and he's aerially strong in the air. Very good going forward, but also very good going the other way. Guys, I'm going to get into some comments as well. There's so many. So I'm not going to be able to go back to the top. I'm going to go from here. Apologies from Moss. London still red. So yeah, rosy colour. Know how really enjoying the stream, all the Tariq Talks content, a little less in the comments today, but it really works for this type of stream. Yeah, guys, I'm just going to say, I'm sorry that I haven't been as involved in the comments as I usually have, but we've had a guest, and I hope you've enjoyed it because he's been coming in with preaching a lot of knowledge, and I really enjoyed this, and hopefully you have enjoyed it with the balance that we provided. So I'm going to bring him back now. He's back.
Your apologies.
That's all right, man.
Just had a little one screaming down the place. I just give her a little rub on the back.
Don't worry, man. How old is she?
She's a year and a half now.
Oh, really? Yeah, no way.
So I've got two little girls. One's 4. The 4-year-old's very independent. Like, I'll be like,
yeah,
now let's go to bed. Yes, I do. Good night. Bye.
Nevea,
yeah. She wants to be held.
That's what happens, man, when you get the opposites of the independence and the one who's very dependent. You know what I mean? And I'm sure she's daddy's girl as well, so she wants you. She don't want mommy.
No, she cries for everyone.
Oh, does she? Oh, okay. I'm trying to pick you up, then. You got to go with it.
Nah. She needs to behave herself.
Oh, fair enough, man. And you know what? We'll try and pick up the pace. So just in case she calls again, let's go into the 3 in the midfield now. So. Who are you going for?
This is tough. This is tough. I need to get some clarity on this.
Go.
Is Smith Rowe counted as a midfielder or as a forward?
For me, I'd class him as a forward. But if you want to play him in midfield, you tell the floor is yours.
And this is why I said it's tough, because here are the players in contention: Maka, Gallagher. And then I would say Smith Rowe. Those would be the 3 that I would have picked.
Okay.
However, I must admit Odegaard has looked good too.
Yeah.
So we've now got 4 midfielders. However, if we were to put Smith Rowe up at the in the forward line, then we've got a massive problem, because realistically, there's Zaha, Edward, and Saka.
True.
So I'm going to bite the bullet and take Odegaard out and have a midfield 3 of MacArthur, Gallagher, and Smith Rowe.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so mine's different. I would go for Partey, Thomas Partey, easily. Like, I think he'd walk into most teams in the Premier League, like Manchester United.
He is a good player.
Yeah. I understand. I understand why not many fans are not as convinced because of his injury record, how we've seen him. And I don't even think he's been at his best when he has played because of those injuries and that transition. And that's kind of slowed the transition from a defensive, not defensive. Well, it's come from a completely different league under a different system and different style of play into the Premier League. So I would go for Partey, Odegaard and Gallagher. That's what I would go for. I know it's very attacking going forward because of what we're seeing from Gallagher. However, I've seen Odegaard play in that central midfield. I think he can do that. I think he can be an 8/10, and so can Gallagher. Gallagher's a real box-to-box and probably the most box-to-box player that either team has, and he has to walk in for me. I do hear the shout for MacArthur, by the way, because he has been quality, and if we're doing it on form, he's very underrated. However, I also believe that Odegaard's overrated as well. So that's my favoritism going in there. And Gallagher has to go in because out of all those 3, he's been the best. I can admit that. Arsenal fans, I know you're going to go mad at me again, but I have to admit that he has been the best. He's scored the most goals out of all of those, created the most chances. His pressing has been... I've not even seen his stats, but just from the eye test, he's pressed more than... Oh, actually, it'd be interesting to go with Odegaard because Odegaard actually leads Arsenal's press. So I don't know. He's definitely up there with Odegaard, though, in terms of the press. So, yeah, that's the 3 that I've gone with. And then what was it? You said you 3 up top already, didn't you?
Yeah, but your one's going to be different because obviously you've got Smith Rowe up there.
Yeah. I don't think I'd put Smith Rowe in mine, no. I'd say he's a forward. But yeah. I'd say Zaha. You have to. Over Smith Rowe.
So you wouldn't even have Smith Rowe over Odegaard in maybe in the middle?
No, I don't think Smith Rowe can play centrally. You know, I really don't. Which I don't think that's where you get him at his best. And he needs to be out wide. I like it when he picks the ball up out wide and then drives inside and links play through there. I think that's where we see the best of Smith Rowe. He did perform very well in the 10 when he first came in before we brought in Odegaard. However, I don't think he has the creativity that's required from a number 10 from that central area. It takes... he's very good at receiving the ball and driving. We've seen that, how he picks up the ball in the half turn all the time and he can use both feet, go either way. But with Smith Rowe, I don't think he has the eye for the pass. He can play one-touch football, which is very Arsene Wenger-like. But that eye of the needle type of pass that is required for create, I don't think that's why I wouldn't put him in there. And I can't put him on the left ahead of Zaha, unfortunately.
I'm glad you said that. I was worried when you didn't say Smith Rowe in the midfield. Where are you going with this?
Man, I'm not deluded. I can't do that with Zaha. I'm a Emile Smith Rowe fan, and he's probably had over one game, probably the better one if we're talking about better off one performance this season. But Zaha's done it and done it for years, and even this season consecutively and consistently. So I've gone with Zaha. This one's difficult for the striker. Zaha, Saka. Zaha on the left, Saka on the right.
Okay, we've agreed on that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and then the striker. That's difficult. You've gone with Edouard from what you've seen. Give me a reason for that one.
You know what? He not only can he hold the ball up, his link-up play is unbelievable. He's one touch, two touch, and you can see that him and Connor, they're starting to build a bit of a relationship. I mean, even against Leicester, he hit the cross, but he should have scored, to be fair to him. Should have scored. Yeah. And then with that Leicester goal, especially, he dropped deep, picked it up, skipped past man. You know, he's got all of that in his locker, you know. So, yeah, Edouard up top for me. And like I said to you earlier, I prefer Oba as a left winger than a striker, personally.
Okay, yeah, you spoke about that earlier. To be honest, I find it... I've got Aubameyang in my fantasy Premier League team as well, Rich, but from what you've said, and I totally agree, as a footballer, he's better than Aubameyang. How many goals has Edouard scored this? 2, isn't it? The 2 goals against Spurs. And Aubameyang scored 2, one against Norwich, one against not Burnley, one against Spurs. For me, if we've got that team, if I've gone with my team, I would pick Aubameyang. But if somebody offered me the swap between Aubameyang and Edouard into this Arsenal team, I think I would take it, because I think he actually has the attributes that would suit an Arteta style. The way he can link up the ball, he's got a bit of pacing behind about him, left foot, right foot, he can head the ball too. I think he can head the ball better than Aubameyang. He's set pieces. He takes free kicks, which we haven't quite seen yet. What he has done in his Celtic days.
Yeah,
he's much better at linking up the play than Aubameyang is, and that's his real flaw. But in terms of goals, and that's what you want from your striker in the top level, they're on the same number. So, and we have more of a catalogue for Aubameyang. So for me, I'm going Aubameyang. I'm going to go for that. And I hope you can understand my reason why. I've bigged you up a lot.
I know you have.
150-50. I've got to say that.
Are you going by his past record, though?
Not just that. It's because I think it's been blown out of proportion with Aubameyang, with how he's completely out of it. Yeah, last season he was, and this is probably just me making excuses if I'm being honest, but there's a lot of other factors that went into that last season, with his mother being sick.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know how I would do. I don't even know how I'd cope on YouTube if that was seriously happened. You know what I mean? If that's my mum, because of how my relationship is with mine. And then we're looking at lockdown, and whilst we're all in that situation with the pandemic, so he's not even able to be with his parents, or his parents aren't able to come over and spend a lot of time because they have to keep that bubble. Then you could see in his discipline and attitude that started to wane, and a little bit where he got the tattoo and that whole situation where he broke down protocols for that, and then obviously he was late to the Spurs game, and then picked up malaria afterwards. So it was a difficult year for Aubameyang, even though he still scored double figures in goals.
Yeah.
So even with that, and in terms of his footballing ability, I don't like it, but he consistently scores goals, whether we like it or not, and he will do that. And I think he will get into double figures again this season. It just depends on how many chances Arsenal will create for him.
Yeah. Can I say one reason why I feel there's been a dip in form for Aubameyang?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's because Lacazette's out the side.
Okay.
I think Lacazette, now he doesn't get the goals. I'll say that, but as a link man, I think he's been disrespected as a player. Lacazette.
Totally. Yeah.
Yes, obviously your main goal as a striker is to score goals, but if Bobby Firmino can go around being what do they call him? A defensive
false nine,
a defensive number 9. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and he gets away with it because he can go and score 5 goals a season, or he'll wrap up a hat trick against like a Watford.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's like, but look what he does for the team. That's exactly what Laka does.
Thank you for saying that, because I've been trying to say that for years as well.
And like I said, and that's why for me personally, with Laka as the 9 and Oba off the left, I think that was when you were the most dangerous. And even then, Pepe on the right, and I'm not his biggest fan. It worked. It absolutely worked. But that's just personal opinion, to be fair.
And do you know what? I think you're right, though. In terms of football, I would play Laka if Arsenal had more goals throughout the whole team. But we don't have enough, so we have to play Aubameyang, and we have to try and get the best out of him. Like, realistically, Emile Smith-Rowe, from what we've seen, doesn't score enough goals. Saka doesn't. Ødegaard certainly hasn't. Pepe is the only one who does, but we can't rely on 2 players to score all of our goals. Do you know what I mean? So Aubameyang has to play for Arsenal because he's our biggest goal threat, and our side doesn't score our goals. This is where we needed an Alexis Sanchez. Asante Cazorla would step up with a few set pieces. Aaron Ramsey. This is why I think Conor Gallagher would work in an Arsenal team, and then we could play Laka, because Laka does score goals as well. Let's not forget that. He scored quite a few goals last season, and he didn't play every game because of Aubameyang. But yeah, he doesn't score as many goals as Aubameyang, but he's a better footballer easily. Like
doing that number doing that number 9 role, he's better than Albright.
Oh, definitely.
That's why I say I can't have, personally, I can't see Oba in the 9.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I don't think he's a 9 in the Premier League, like a Premier League number 9. Bundesliga, Borussia Dortmund, that was his bread and butter because the high line. We've seen how strikers have come from the Bundesliga, Werner, and absolutely thrive and score 20 plus goals there.
Yeah.
But we got to give credit to Aubameyang. He has done that here as well. But it was under a different system, and under where it did suit him a lot more out on that left-hand side with Emery, where he was able to run from deep and use his pace and have that freedom and not worry about anything that way, going backwards. So, yeah. But, Rich, man, I've really enjoyed this. Thank you, man. Thank you for joining. I said half an hour to 45 minutes, guys. Thank you for sticking along. And thank you, Rich, for staying with me as well.
Pleasure.
Thank you for coming on. Give yourself that plug now. Tell them wait. We have predictions. Sorry, I almost forgot. Go quickly on predictions.
All right, very quickly. If Jordan Ayew starts right forward, I'll just say 2-1 Palace. If we start Elise, I'm going 3-1 Palace.
Confidence. I like that. And fair enough. And who do you think will score?
Saha and Edward 2.
Oh, okay. If it's 3-1.
Yeah, and then 1 each if it's 2-1.
Who's scoring for Arsenal?
Saka.
Okay. I'm going to go with 2-1 Arsenal, as I said on your channel. I think that we'll score first. You will equalise, and then there will be an error at the back. I'm hoping, and Aubameyang will score. So I think Aubameyang will score 1. I think Gabriel will score off a set piece, and the goal scorer for you, I think it will be a penalty from Luca. No, Luca don't take him anymore. Zaha.
No, Zaha takes
Yeah,
him.
yeah. So yeah, 2-1.
So you conceded
1-1.
a penalty. You conceded a penalty.
Yeah. I think Zaha will like dust like Tomiyasu, and then
we might bang a couple then.
and I think this is just like me trying to think. I think Zaha will get past Tomiyasu for once in the game. I'm joking. That might happen. It might happen more than that. And then Partey will come and try and help his teammate out, and Zaha will end up winning the penalty, and the referee will give it. Who's the ref for the game? Do you know who the ref is?
No idea. I honestly, I never even look. I don't even.
I don't look at that. I mean, there's a lot of people that do though. A lot of people we've got Anthony Taylor. To be honest, if it was Anthony Taylor, I understand. But
to be fair, anyone but Mike Dean, man, he's such a show pony.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah, he'd make a meal out of it.
Oh, actually, and John Moss, he don't like us.
Oh, yeah, true. John Moss don't like anyone. I think, he done us dirty as well. Craig Paulson. I mean, we could go through all of the refs I don't like in the league, literally every single one. That Jared Gillett didn't have a great time. You know, the one from Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a mare against Watford and Newcastle in that game, and he came with a lot of plaudits. But yes, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Rich, thank you for coming on. Now you can finally give yourself that plug. Where can the people find you? And I'll put in the description about your Sunday night show as well, so if you want to have a speak about that.
Yeah, so Eagle-Eyed Football, so predominantly Crystal Palace content, previews, match reactions, and the like. So I will be reacting to the game against Arsenal. I don't know whether it will be Monday night or Tuesday night just yet. So bear with me on that one. Other than that, Sunday night, Get Amped. Yep, it'll be happening tomorrow, 9 o'clock, I believe. So that's any fan of any club could come on and talk about the weekend's performances. I'm expecting to see a lot of United fans in the chat tomorrow because I think they've got a lot to get off their chest. So yeah, whatever club you support, Get Amped tomorrow 9 p.m. It's better than TalkSport. Trust me, it's lively.
I mean, I remember because I was meant to come on one time, but then I got I was like overloaded with a lot of things. But I switched it on, and then boy, there was some controversial opinions on there. You know, I was like, it's kind of like TalkSport in that way, but there was some controversy from the people joining.
It's good fun.
Yeah, exactly. So any other fans, Arsenal fans, we got Wolves fans, all different types in the chat. Go get yourself on Get Amped and go find this channel. Thank you very much for coming on. Guys, I will be doing a Twitch stream later if you guys are up. Let's go through in the comments. Look at that here from Pros Only TV. Big up Tariq and Rich. Tariq talks to man. It's where I would discuss TV shows. Brush with that Manchester United. Yeah, it's disgusting. Not it, man. With Man United. You'll be there for... It's therapy though, isn't it, at the end of the day, Rich?
It's so therapeutic.
Exactly. It's nice for you to hear as well because
you know what, on that I'm speaking. I've just spoken to Nathan. So guys, if you haven't seen Squid Game yet, make sure you see it because I'm actually going to do hopefully next week, if not definitely the week after, because half time's coming up. The tier ranking thing.
Oh yes, yeah.
All the Crystal Palace players, we're going to go through them one by one and see which round they get knocked out in.
Interesting. I like that one. I'll tune in for that one definitely because I did a tier video on my channel as well. Definitely, man. And shout out Nathan as well. Big up Nathan. And yeah, so guys, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you to everyone in the comments. Apologies for not being as interactive, but I hope you enjoyed it because I definitely did, and I learned a lot about Palace and opposition fans' thoughts and opinions. So yeah, and Fadsley, I haven't seen you for a while, so it's nice to see here. He's putting a dot there, so big shout out, and we see the t-shirt and that, and then here's Realist as well. Big up yourself. Look forward to Monday. Look after yourself. Have a great weekend as well, Rich, and everyone else. Take care, guys. Peace.